Bucketlist Show. I'm Tammy Crandall with Journey Venture Travel and Tours and Link Real Estate. Notice I said Link Real Estate, not Barron. We've updated that name.
We changed our name when she did that to help me.
That's right.
So I am Rebecca Denise with Superior Storage and Link Real Estate.
That's right. That's right. And we are so glad to have you with us here today. We are here to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And that is different for everybody. We've mentioned that in the past.
Many things.
It could be that you're wanting to paddleboard for the first time, maybe take your first dive off that high dive.
Write a book.
Yeah, visit the Keys.
Go to Hawaii.
Oh, there we go. All those fun things.
All those things.
It could
or buy a house.
Or buy a house. Yes,
right.
That's right. And that's going to be our focus.
Yes.
Today. We had the fortunate circumstance to attend a wonderful open house held by Coulter right here in our backyard of the Treasure Coast off of Becker, called Mosaic.
And it was beautiful.
It was
gorgeous. The whole thing was beautiful. All their models were beautiful.
What's really amazing is many of the neighborhoods that Coulter is putting together, you know, we've seen a lot of sprawl and there are some positive things that come of that. You know, we attract a lot of large companies here to our area that helps to keep people employed here in the area. But we also have these great homes that Coulter is putting together in these smaller, more boutique-y style neighborhoods of 200 homes or less, an average of 83 homes in some. I think Astor Creek was like that.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and I'm going to let Rebecca kick us off.
We will. So, so the tour was great. It was, again, Coulter Homes. Tammy and I went and we got to see each of the homes. And the thing about Coulter and many of the builders is, they built the homes around you. We want it to be what you need, and then you have everything that you need within the community. It could be the parks, it could be the grocery stores, but the idea is that you want to live and play where you're living. And obviously the companies are all brought in. In Coulter, not just Port St. Lucie, it could be South Carolina, it could be Alabama, it could be Georgia. So even if you're not looking for our area, there is other areas and pockets that you could look to do that. Some of the models that we have, one of them was called the Julia, and it was a beautiful property, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, and then they also have that flex room, so it could be a den, it could be a loft upstairs, but the idea is that you have one room to look at. One of the models, all of them, the kitchens are just, it's livable and it's usable. It had a gas stove.
Well, and they're nice, wide open spaces that really are designed not just for your family to be comfortable, but really for spaces to extend your rooms over into like an entertainment source, which is great. So whether you're having neighbors over or you're bringing family together, wonderful, very modern, well-appointed, wide open spaces, and it's really, kitchen is beautiful.
The kitchen, and if you're cooking and you're gathering and you're having people over, the idea when it's all open and then you're looking outside, and then they have extended cooking areas and pools and some of them outside.
Right.
But the idea is that you really could live there, but you still have the privacy that you need if you're having children. That flex room, one of the houses that we seen, which one of them was my favorite, was a Grace. We're not looking at it today. But the flex room, had the pool table, and it had built-in shelves, and they weren't just your standard built-in shelves. It was creative and modern and open, and the tray ceilings. They had everything that you would need and beyond, and it's not cookie cutter.
Well, and that's true. That's true. There were so many examples of things that you could do. Of course, we're looking at model homes today. So, of course, they're adding some amenities that maybe might have a small upcharge of things that if you really wanted that. But what I loved about their spaces is they really relied on a lot of natural light to come into the home. So it wasn't unusual to see a home like in this great area that we're looking at right now in the Julia, where it has kind of like transom windows. So you don't have those windows right in the space where it's hitting your television when
Right.
you need to watch it, but it's in an area where it brings the light, natural
Right,
light
and
to
by
your home.
having it higher, then you don't lose the whole entire wall. But the idea that it's opened and there is lots of light, I think it does make a huge difference
It does.
for how we live on a day-to-day basis.
It
But the kitchens, I could just stay in the kitchen, so that'll be fine, you know? So, but it really, and the homes are, they're not on top of each other, so you
Yeah.
had a little bit of a land. They didn't build as many, like you were saying, as before. But the walkways, the plantings, all of it, and I think they just had a little bit different appeal than some of the other builders because they are trying to show you examples of how you can live and play.
Well, that's it, and that really is kind of the mantra. I refer to myself as the homecation agent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, what I do is we help families live, work, and play.
And you
Live
do.
and live and stay where they work and play. So.
And your home's going to tell a story about you and how you live, and maybe it's not the pool table. Some of them had little libraries, little sit-in rooms. The whole loft ideal, I think, is great.
Well, and even just the master bathrooms in every one of these homes that we're just going to give you a small peek in today. We just put in some specific rooms out of the Julia model that they have here at Mosaic for Coulter. But you'll notice that in these master spaces, lots of free space. So his sink is way over here, her sink is way over there. So you're not, bumping elbows.
Right, but even
in
the
master
bathrooms were
area.
open, and so you had room in there to do what you need to do. The closets, just fabulous closets, the way they designed it, and then obviously you could be more creative and add things. But it had a lot of space in all of it.
It did. The open foyers are
I know,
just,
the front,
they're
everything.
stunning. They're stunning.
It's beautiful.
And of course we know they rely on great designers to stage it appropriately. But even without, the staging of the home, which was just beautiful, but just a beautiful open space.
Right.
When you came into the home, it was very open and welcoming. It wasn't like a squished hallway
Right.
and narrow. Again, that
And they
very
had some
wide open concept.
Pocket doors, but even if you can't add these add-ons with the builder, they're giving you the idea so you could duplicate it yourself. And we all know that maybe that coffee table that's in there is $500, but you could certainly find one maybe a little bit less, but you could still get the same look and feel of it.
Absolutely.
But for me, I'm not creative. It would be all sorts of colors I don't match, but they're helping you. I know.
She
I
likes her
match it
colors.
today.
Yeah, we're classy today.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. And
but,
this photo is actually an example
Yeah.
of that flex space we were
Right, I
talking
love it.
about. And it's got nice wide open windows, again, providing light into the
Yep.
home. That's not far from the front
Mm-hmm.
door entryway. So we saw so many creative things that were
Mm-hmm.
done by them as to what they could utilize this room for. So, for example, she mentioned the pool table,
Yeah, the
where you
pool
could have kind
table.
of like a little small gaming area. And then we saw one that was almost kind
The
of like
man
a
cave.
man cave
The
space,
cigar
where
room.
it's like a cigar room style.
And
all
it
of
was
the
nice
artwork.
though, and
really
it was
kind of a
more,
neat way.
they could make it, but, in the picture that you're looking at now, you could see where they used the different textures, and there's a little bit of wallpaper and different paneling that you're seeing, but they squeezed in the TV and a little bit of a shelf, and again, it's all comfort, it's all usable.
Yeah, lots of storage space.
Yeah, that's great, but, the home is meant to live in, and I think that's what they're showcasing.
Absolutely.
And then however you decorate it, will be you, but they're going to give you the ideas. I love the tall windows and the tall curtains.
Oh,
So,
yes.
you have the light, and you don't even have to do the curtains. Now they have blinds that go up and down, so
Sure.
you can get blinds for the top or the bottom, but you're still going to showcase all that light to come through.
Absolutely. And I think that's what really stands out about the homes that Coulter is putting up today. Just to share this next, picture, just showing how they've utilized that great room
Right.
space, creating this space for a large dining area,
Right.
quite honestly, as well as a place for watching movies for the family and that sort of thing.
But there's enough room, so you could see the
Yes.
big dining room, you have the living room, and then we showed you the kitchen where you have the 5 or 6 stools, and it's still open and airy. It's not crowded with furniture or things, and the light in the windows, I think, really do make a difference.
Well, and I've always been a person who's very big on, when you have that kind of living space, you want to have sliders that can open and extend your living space even beyond what you have on the interior.
Absolutely. It makes
and
a nice
they've
flow.
done a fantastic job with that.
It's beautiful.
Here,
They all buckle
on
into
this
each
Julia
other.
model, and you'll see how it extends out, and they've actually got great space, for you to have a barbecue outside.
I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And there's another table outside, or it could be lounging chairs. But the idea is that you're bringing the outside in.
Yes.
And then you could still be at the kitchen cooking, doing what you want to do. And everybody has room to flow through the
Right.
property. But, it is nice to cook a meal and still talk to your guest and,
Yeah.
and have fun, or your family or your friends, however you're doing it.
Well, and not everybody wants a screen room,
Right.
So that's what I thought was really interesting about these spaces. I mean, you could install a screen room, I'm sure.
Yeah, no,
but
I
not
think-
everybody wants that. They want that wide open, fresh
I
air
do too.
space, and the fact that it's got such a nice, large area on the patio that's covered.
And the lanais were extended
Yes,
again,
they were.
a little bit longer. But the idea that, you could just have your dinner or sit out there and have your morning coffee. The pool is a win-win. And obviously, because it's an HOA, they have all those amenities, which we'll share later. But, all of the models were different. They were definitely beautiful, various price levels. And, you could say, I want to add these amenities. I want this. Or you could not. But the idea is that they're showcasing what you want to see. And again, this is just one site. We were looking at the Port St. Lucie by the Becker area, which is very close to, Stewart and down that end of town. But it's just a beautiful place to live.
It is. And the great thing about where Mosaic is located is you're far enough away that your
You're not-
neighborhood is kind of off the beaten path in a sense, but at the same time, your nearest grocery store is within 10 minutes of that space, not even.
Right.
It's Publix. Grocery is there, as well as Bonefish Mac for eating.
Yep.
Oak and Ember is there. So
And you could scoop right
Dunkin',
into.
you can shoot and get your Dunkin' coffee if
Yeah,
that's
and
what
you're
you
not
want.
far to the water and all those things that you would want to showcase. But they really did an outstanding job on how they set it up and all the little things that you're like, this is great. They really went outside the box, and
Oh,
that's,
they did.
both of us, we don't want the boxes. We say
That's
no
right.
boxes.
No
So,
boxes, yeah.
and I thought it was so clever with the cigar room or the pool table room, and then upstairs is the loft, which it could be a game room. So they really had a little bit for everybody to showcase. So I thought it was neat.
Exactly.
We were hoping they would give us a free house or a raffle. That didn't work.
Yeah,
Next time.
No,
I know. Oh, well.
maybe.
Can't have everything.
Well, and I, we've been on some other tours that Coulter has had.
Yes.
Down in Astor Creek, which is in Stewart, and I think Cove Royale
Cove
was
Royale.
another one, which is more of a townhome
Right.
style.
Yep, that was good
first
too.
and second floor, which was absolutely impressive. So they're not just sticking to single-family homes.
Right.
But they're also offering quite a wide variety of
Right,
different
and it
home
could be a little
styles.
bit less on your square footage, so that's where the price levels will come. Townhouse is gonna be a little bit less than the single-family home.
Right.
But even at Mosaic, they had a couple different price levels too.
Oh, they did, they
And,
did.
every one of them was beautiful.
We also took a look. That Julia model really was like the base model to start with. Again, there were some amenities that were considered upgrades.
Right.
Again, because these are all model homes.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. But at the same time, we went in, the Madison model is a 3-bedroom, has a flex room, 3 bathrooms, a great room, and 2-car garage. And then they actually can do some built-ins for an outdoor
It is.
kitchen, which was quite impressive.
And, even the
know.
fire pit, I mean, it was something so simple that they just, did a square little lounger for the brick. But what a great idea, because they used, all the earth things that we want to use and the stone and all that. And I just thought that was another
It was
beautiful.
beautiful.
And, I just love the idea of the kitchen. And again, this home had the sliders. So if you're in the kitchen and you open the sliders, you're just extending your living space.
Absolutely.
They had the ceiling fans and the light and everything that you would need. This house had the fire pit. And
Yes.
the other one had the pool.
That's right. And then, at the same time, again, that extended covered
Yeah.
patio, so you don't just have the small space.
Right.
You've really got an area where you, even if it's raining, you could
It's
sit
usable.
outside. It's huge.
Yeah, because some of the lanais, and when they're screened in, even though the lanai is nice, by having it open,
Mm-hmm.
larger and extended and taller, it really does add into the living square
It
feet.
does,
Even
it
though we don't
does.
count it when price level, but it really does make a difference.
Right. And then, of course, they just kept getting bigger from there,
I know,
right?
I know.
It's like go big or go home.
That's
right?
it, you're out of there.
Or go big and make it your home.
Mhm.
There we go. So the Page model was the next one up. 3-bedroom with a flex, 3-bath, great room, and 3-car garage.
I know, and
You know?
each one had a different front design. Some of them had it where there was a little patio, a couple little chairs, the front doors and the walkway, all of it was so welcoming.
It was.
But
yeah.
it wasn't small, we had the extra height, and we had the different lines of the house, so they all weren't the same, and they all weren't the same color.
Well,
So
and
you
even
got
the
to
front
see.
patios, and I think
love
we had
the front
talked about
patio, yeah.
the front patios, not just on the Page model, but on all of the models. When you would approach the front door of these homes, the patio was quite large, and you could set out furniture to sit out front. Maybe you've got
And
your
you could
neighbors.
see, you're not in that small alcove.
Right.
So you had that space to see, but you want to utilize the front too, and the gardens and the grass, all that makes a difference. And they did the extras in the driveway.
And they really did a beautiful job with the landscaping
They really
all
did.
around these.
All
just
of it,
beautiful,
and it's,
beautiful plants and
they are
things.
great.
Again, they put in pools, some of them
I
with
know.
waterfalls, so this one had a waterfall feature on top of.
But you could see how just by extending that lanai width and height, and exhausting the yard and the space that you have, it really does. It's open, it's airy, and I almost think it's a little bit better than having a closed off lanai.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you're just able to walk and it extends it
Oh,
all.
yeah.
And some of the homes that had more of a backyard, they use the artificial grass, so maintenance is easy.
Well,
But the
it gives you
pool is
that-
just spectacular.
Yeah, and it gives you that great feel for that patio home
Yeah, and
style.
it's
which
your
I really
backyard.
enjoy.
And, I think by extending it makes a big difference. And each one had dining room tables, so they weren't just little tables. These is for a party 8. So, and it could be just furniture. It could be a TV out there. So they're just trying to show you what you can do.
Of course.
And
of
it's
course.
exciting.
I think so, and that, of course, that's in the privacy of your own home. Of course,
Correct.
there's so many. They will have community amenities.
Yes.
In that space. So at some point we'll get to that as well.
Yep.
But what we're going to do first is we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Journaventure Travel and Tours, where it's about your journey, not just the destination. Picture a world full of amazing places yet to be discovered. Where do you begin? Whether your bucket list includes cruising in the Caribbean, exploring vast nature in Alaska, or experiencing exotic worldwide places, we're here to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. Your journey begins from the moment you let go and let us handle the details for you. So call us today, Journaventure Travel and Tours, 772-882-3165.
Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Denise from the Bucketlist Show with my co-host Tammy Crandell.
Hello.
We're going to keep on talking about Coulter Homes, which is in the Port St. Lucie area, close to the Stewart area. We did mention before, it could be Alabama, it could be South Carolina, it could be Georgia, all over Florida. So this is just one tour that we wanted to show you that we did get to go look at. So now we're going to discuss the Riley home. So Riley is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, half bath, and you get the flex room. So this is the larger of the ones that we see, and it also had 2-car garage. And
Right.
again, this has a different style, look and feel. Your garage doors is not in the front, it's on the side. Beautiful frontage when you walk in. Nice colors. But again, it's just another one of Coulter Homes, and it was just really
Yeah, it was
great to
stunning.
see.
Stunning.
The outside of this one, they were all open and airy. They're trying to show you different designs that you want to have. but they're also trying to show you that you could live and extend your home by being outside.
Absolutely.
This one, what a beautiful patio.
Yeah, the decking, the pergola,
All
the
of it,
areas
even
for
just the, the
extended
way they
areas
went
for
up
eating.
and, so it's not just, they used the lines, they didn't make everything flat. It's not a closed lanai, it's really open and extended.
Yes.
And then, if you're inside the home and you're looking out, this is what you're seeing. And even the way they did the plantings and the backdrop and the way they placed this house in the backyard, it shows you the privacy and everything that you want, but you could live and play in the home. And that's the great thing.
Absolutely.
And the flex room, when you go upstairs and you have that flex room, it could be anything. It could be an office, it could be kids, it could be a bedroom, everything that you need. I mean, I think the flex room in all of them is just a nice bonus. It really does make a difference. It is upstairs, but these are all CBS construction, hurricane windows, so you have everything that you need. And it was just really nice. I could live outside in all these homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, like this one, I think was great.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
And, when you extend it, and I think, it just works for a family, or not. So it depends on what you need, but these were great houses. The square footage on this one is probably a little bit more. And then when we talk about
Yeah.
prices, the prices on the first one that we showed you, they're obviously going to go up, but if you want to see these houses, we could offer you a tour, and it doesn't have to be this one. It could be PJ Verano, which is part of Coulter.
Right.
So
There's some out Tradition,
Yeah.
Stewart, Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens. We could certainly get with anyone who's interested in taking a look at Coulter Homes. If you're looking at building a home,
Right.
Sometimes with the way the prices are today, you can get something built that can be built within a shorter period of time than you think. And it's still competitively priced to some of the homes that are existing out there. So you're going out the gate, you've got brand new everything.
Right.
You've chosen your countertops, you've chosen some of those. And of course, every one of these communities that we go into, they do offer some speculative. So if you need to get, moved in a hurry,
Right.
some of them already have homes that are pre-built
Right.
that are semi-move-in ready, which means they might be ready within the next 40 days or so.
Right, and that's a big difference, so if you're going to do the construction your home yourself and do a spec house, it probably would take much more longer.
Right,
the
that's
idea
correct.
that they say they are move-in ready, to have something in possibly 40 days, that's
Yeah,
great. And then if
40,
you're the
45 days.
person that wants to pick everything in there, the tile, the colors, that gives you the opportunity too.
Right. And we've talked in the past about how great it is to have partners to work with. And so we work with quite a number of lending partners, title company partners,
The
and all of
builders.
those play a part in helping builders
does.
as well, that play a part in helping get these things closed up in a manner that is organized and fits a timeline that makes more
Right.
sense for
and,
you.
And we could pull together and make it happen. The other variable is a lot of these builders are having incentives. So possibly, we're all concerned about where rates are or not. The reality is you're never going to keep this home for 30 years at possibly, 6-7%. But if you go to the builder and when you work with your partners together, they have the option that you could buy down the rate.
That's right.
And that means, maybe you're paying a little bit up front. But the builders at this point, they do have incentives. It depends on your story, which house you're buying, your
That's right.
timeline. But they will give you an incentive, and maybe they will pay that buy down for you.
Right,
And
right.
that could be a big difference. So a buy down, possibly means, maybe the first year you're at 2.99, the second year you're going to go up to 3.99, and then you'll go up, to the market rates. And that's just an example, but that's, how the buy down works. But when you work with the right partners and the right title company and the right bank, when we work together as a team, these are things that we could help. And the idea is that we want to try to get you in a home that you have the comfort of the monthly budget.
Right.
Obviously, it's the rate and the information's going to go up, but the idea is hopefully your income's going to grow with it, or maybe it's a temporary housing, or maybe it's a relocation.
That's right.
But also it could be, your forever home.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
and especially in Florida, we still see lots of people moving all over the place.
And we do. The building here, the resales here have not changed by all that much. Some of them are sitting on the market a little longer. than what they have in the past, but I think that has a lot to do with the influx of there's a lot of things on the market, you know,
Right.
and not necessarily, you know, some people are of the mindset, oh, there must be foreclosures or
Yeah, no,
crazy
no.
stuff like that.
No.
And it really has nothing to do with that. It's just people are making changes, and you know, and I think our areas here, specifically here in South Florida, I'm a Florida native.
Right.
It's a cycle. It's a
Right.
cycle of the way things just work down here in real estate. But even though it's taking a little bit longer than what it used
Right.
to, when we're looking at those things on the market, we still have one of the hottest markets. So
Yeah.
even if you're looking at buying a home that is seasonal for you,
Right.
you know, so that's a thing as well. And the advantage to that seasonality of that home is, you know, you get into the right community or with the right home, and you could very easily turn that seasonal home for you into something that is passive income.
Right.
So you can go on those trips that you hear me talk about
Right,
periodically.
yeah, listen, and, you know, to have an income producing property, you know, is another great way of looking at it. But I think for us in these properties, I mean, it's a lifestyle.
It
And
is.
I think the idea when you're seeing these large lanais and the patio and the pools or the great yard, I mean, that's the lifestyle that Florida offers. And again, you have different sizes, different price level, and they're not these crazy big houses.
That's right.
They're comfortable and they're built for you and the different sizes you may need or for your family.
Absolutely.
And then obviously if it's a newer home, you got all the protections with the weather. It's a newer home, so you got the better insurance and things of that nature. But we haven't even talked about the amenities and
Yeah,
I
we're going to
mean-
go there, right?
Okay, perfect.
I got
Yeah,
a small
'cause-
video I'm just going to share with you. And so you can get a feel for, oops, help me out here, Barry. Sorry. It's okay. This just gives you an idea of some of the amenities that they have available there, whether it's their tennis or pickleball courts.
Which is big.
Which is huge, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the pickleball in most of these communities, you know, they have clubs for everything. It could be tennis, pickleball. It could be a cooking club.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just beautiful and
Yeah,
outside.
the rec
And-
centers with the pools.
And there's enough room for everybody. You know, so the days that it's just a library and your HOA, it's much more expanded now. And again, you're extending your living, so you could stay at home and enjoy your own time, or you're gonna go barbecue at the poolside.
Exactly.
Which is just another opportunity. And then again, you're living and playing with your whole family. The
You've got your-
exercise.
You've got your
Yeah.
fitness center right in-house.
Yeah, you don't have to
to
drive
your-
and fight the clubs and all that.
Exactly, exactly. You
You
just
know,
take a short walk from your home.
Yeah, and even you know, if you're into water aerobics and things of that nature, or chair yoga, you know, they have it. Some of the communities have, you know, they offer plays and travel tours and things of that nature. So there really is just a lot that you could do. So, but it's just another opportunity to see us. And again, it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be Florida, and it doesn't have to be Coulter. So if you're looking to buy or sell or invest, that's what Tammy could help you. And what we're trying to share today is just another option of what's out there. And we have looked at other builders, and we have shared that. But if you want to go on a tour, and maybe it's to see 5 different areas and 5 different builders, that's where we could help you. And you don't have the pressure of walking in and not sure what you're doing. That's where we could guide you.
Right.
We work with these builders. We work with the people on site. You know, so we're totally embedded that way.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's, you know, you don't want a new construction. Maybe you're going to buy an older inventory. And that's out there too.
Well, and that's true. We do, there is quite a bit of inventory for family homes or retiree homes where maybe
Yeah.
you're downsizing from a larger home that you're in and you're wanting to get into a community that has HOA amenities that are good for you, makes more sense, right?
Right.
And so we're going to help you with all of those
All that.
things.
Anything.
Yeah, we would certainly love the opportunity
Yes.
to help put you into a home that makes sense for you and your family.
Right.
You know, so when you get a moment, you know, please make sure that if you have any questions at all,
Yeah.
We would love to sit down, spend some time with you, find out exactly what you're looking for, and we could talk about homes all day
Yeah,
long.
I know.
We really do love
And,
homes.
You know,
so
there's, and I think, especially on the relocation, you still see people coming northeast or coming down here, or especially the country, part of the country. So I think we could help anyone with all of it. And even if you're not ready to buy, we were both past bankers, so we could help you set that up. So maybe your timeline is going to be 6 months, or you need a little bit of credit repair, or you're not sure on what programs. There's an opportunity for everyone to buy a home. There's
Agreed.
many programs with 100% finance, and there's programs with closing cost assistance. So don't think you can't buy. Let us help you buy.
Yeah.
And get
we
that
help,
home.
We help with the variety of programs and things that the contacts that we have. We really have a strong basis. It's no accident that I drive around with a license plate that says home ownership for all, because I really strongly believe in that if you are working, you're hardworking, that you have the ability to own a home, whatever that home is. It varies for each person, but we would certainly welcome the opportunity to help you with that.
Yeah.
So when you're ready, please call
Absolutely.
one of us. If you want to reach out to me, I'm Tammy Crandall, again with Link Real Estate, and my number is 772-579-9536.
And I am Rebecca Denise with Link Real Estate, and my number is 203-482-7297.
And I do want to remind you, if you want to take a look at what we have out there on inventory as far as what's out there and for sale, you just want to poke around, go to homecationagent.com. That'll take you directly into my site, and I'll be able to, help you. If you see something that you like, I can kind of walk you through it. Let me know what you would like to see. Thank you.
Be kind, everyone.
Mm-hmm.